Okay, good evening once again, everybody. I'm really grateful that we're all here, and we, as a group, Abuja our user group, we're grateful that you are all here to participate in our webinar tonight. So without wasting much of our time, I'm going to go ahead with the presentation today. So I'm going to be assisted by my really humble guy, Amanyarao Robinson. So I want to also use this opportunity to welcome all participants from Nigeria as well and all over the world that are joining us tonight. We really appreciate you, and we are looking forward to you gaining so much from the webinar tonight. So I'm Bilikisu Aderito, and I'm a business data analyst. I'm a user of R, and I'm also an R studio instructor. So I'm based here in Nigeria, in the city of Abuja, Nigeria. So that's the capital of Nigeria. So we're really happy to have all of you here. So I'm going to be sharing my knowledge on our Shiny dashboard. So so I would really love everybody to just pay attention. Then I'll take you through the dashboard. So I would go out. Okay. So okay, so tonight, this is a dashboard that I'm going to take us through. Our Shiny dashboard, it's one of the packages that helps us to build dashboards in R. There we have Shiny, and we also have Shiny dashboard. So a Shiny basically is the kind of foundation that I would say in a layman's term. So, but Shiny dashboard has some widgets that at least kind of enhance the dashboard interface. So that's why I'm kind of referring to Shiny dashboard. So we can build our dashboard using Shiny in different ways. We can have it in our Markdown form, like using the Flex dashboard. We can also have it as an app, and which is what I used for this demo tonight. So here we have a sample data set which I got from a colleague. So it's on Nigerian COVID-19 data. So it's a dashboard. So the data is available from February 2020 to December 2020. So we're going to look at how I created this beautiful dashboard, which can also be much more better than this. But this just to show you the beauty of having a dashboard created in Shiny dashboard. So as an R user, Shiny helps us to get over the fear of learning HTML and CSS and all the kind of tools that we need to develop a web app. So with Shiny, it's easier for us to move within R and still get a dashboard that can be shared all over with our colleagues and also online. We can have it hosted on Shiny app. So we can also have it hosted using our own domain. So here we have some value boxes that are used to highlight some key figures here. So we're looking at the total cases of COVID-19 that was available up to October 30th. That's the data that I'm working on now, just for a demo. So the same thing we have for the total death as well as the total patients recovered, that has recovered by that 2020, that's October 30th, 2020. So we also have a map that gives us more information about the state of the country as of that time. So if you click on any of the markers, you get more information about the states, the cases, number of cases, the deaths, the recovered, the active cases that were available at that time, the number of screened patients that we have. So this is something that is much more better than having the black and white data that we'll have. We can also, while having our map, we can also have it as a data table. So this is what I have here. I've already used this, the side panel here. I'm actually having my own side panel created for me. I disabled the side panel that comes with Shiny Dashboard. So we have the power to manipulate the interface as much as we want. So here we can filter and update the data in our table by changing the dates. So I can make changes here. I can decide to add more states that I want to view their data in the table. So after selecting these multiple states, I can update my data table. So this is just for a demo. You can see all the states that I selected are all available here. So I'm going to go to the R Studio interface and walk you through how I generated this. And I also have a bar plot here showing the figures that are related to each of the states here. So this is just for a demo, but you can have it much more in a beautiful format than what you have on the screen here. So let's go ahead I'm taking you back into the R Studio interface now to walk you through how I came about this dashboard. So if you have any question, we're going to take questions after the walkthrough. So please bear with us. Okay, sorry for that. So I'm going to walk you through all the files that I'm using. So here I have some CSVs that So for this demo, I am using some CSVs. So these are the various CSVs that I'm going to be using for this demo. So I have a CSV on daily updates. Then we also have for molecular labs, the daily cases, the daily deaths, the daily recovered number of cases that we have, then the general data that we have for all the states. So the first thing that we need to look at when we're creating a Shiny app is that if you open your R Studio, you can go to the file. You can either go through new file. You come down, you have the option of creating a Shiny web app. So if you click on the Shiny web app, you'll be able to create a new Shiny web app that allows you to have an app, like a web app that you can host online. So with this, if you can put in the name of your, okay, sorry. Okay, yeah, we're going to share the code and the files at the end of the presentation. So with this, you can just give it a name, then you say, give it a name like demo, then you create the Shiny app. So if I take you to my files, the files that I'm having here, you can see on the right side, you have a folder called demo. Within this folder, you have the app file, app.r file. This is where all your codes, I'll open this now. So this is the first thing that you will see when you create a new app, a new Shiny web app. So if I run this now, we'll have the default. So we'll have a default app that comes with the R Studio. So this is what you have there. You have just a plot here based on some numbers and bins, but you can change everything that you have here based on your own choice. So I'll go back to R Studio. So I'll stop this. So I'm going to close this app now. We don't need that today. So then the next thing is this. We need to bring in the library. If you don't have the library installed already, all you just need to do is type in install packages, then you put the name in a double quotation mark. So you either put Shiny, you add Shiny, or you use the Shiny dashboard. Okay, so when you run this, you'll get it installed, then you can now call or load the Shiny dashboard package. So with this, we can go ahead and look at all the packages that we're having here. Here, I'm using the Shiny package as well as the Shiny dashboard, the Shiny Java JS, which is not so relevant here, but I'll usually have it within my within the reach, so in case I need it. So we're also going to look at data tables. Then we're using almighty tidyverse, as well as plotly and leaflet for the an interactive map. So plotly is here because we want to see some interactivity on the plot that we generate. So that is why we're having that here. So now I'll take you in. The next thing is for us to import the data that we're going to use. So it's all our data in CSV. So I'm using the read underscore CSV function, which comes in the reader package. So with this, if I run this one by one on the line, so we can have a view of all this data by going into our environment. We'll view it. So the first one, that's the COVID-19 data by states, it only has information, aggregated information about all the cases. So for all the states in Nigeria. So, and here we also have the values for the latitude and the longitude values for each of the states. So this helps us when we are creating our interactive map. So that is one of the data we're working with. Then we also have the daily updates. So these are the data that we have on daily basis that you can find on NCDC website. So here they're recording every cases, active cases, the number of deaths on a daily basis. But this is not related to any states now. So it's just about everything, every occurrence for each of the variables that we're having here. So the next one is the molecular labs. These are the labs that are available in Nigeria where you can do your test. Then we have the states, the daily cases. So this shows you, it gives us all the values about the states on daily basis. So we're going to do some manipulation on this table because it would make sense for us to kind of shrink or make this data longer so that it makes sense. We can have a column that takes up all the values of the states. That's what, when we're looking at tidy data, we need to have unique name for our variable. That's our column names. We shouldn't have values as column names. So in this case, we're having values here as column names, which shouldn't be. So that's why we're going to do some manipulation using the function pivot longer to make it longer instead of being wide. That's kind of not useful for us now. So the next one that I'm looking at is the states daily deaths. So the same thing goes for this table. It's too wide. We need to collapse it and make it longer, and that this will make sense to us. So we also have the same thing that goes with the recovered cases. So we have to collapse all this. So the next thing is for me now. I'll take you back to the file app.r. So the next thing that I did was like I told you, we need to make it kind of the data frame that we're having here to be longer. So that's why the first thing that I did here was I took the states daily cases for the states. So I collapsed all the columns that are referring to individual states. So we want to have all of them as a single entity under the name states. So if you select this and you use the function pivot longer, which takes all these arguments. So what I did here was that the only column that I'm not going to collapse or make longer is the dates column. I'll take you back there now so that you have a sense of what I'm doing. So this date column is going to be exempted while the others are going to be collapsed and their values are going to be used as values, while the names of the columns are going to be values now under the states column. So that's exactly what I did here. So the first thing that I did was use the function to collapse this. So if I select this and run it, you'll see the output. So instead of having a wide data table, now we're having something longer and much more kind of a smaller width, but a longer length, longer number of maybe more rows and observations than the columns now. So if you look at the screen, we now have 9,129 rows more. That's the 9,139 rows more. So if you look on my right side here, you'll see that okay, no, I've not saved it. So I just selected that aspect. So I've not saved it as a new data table, data frame, excuse me. So I'm just showing you what is happening step by step so that you understand as I take you through the codes. So the next thing now is that I needed to change the format of the dates. So the dates format now, I just need to make sure that, okay, all the dates in my tables are of the same format. So I will tell you, I will refer you back to this, why I did this by the next stage now. So with all this now, I'll have just the same thing. So, but I'm going to save it now as states daily cases modified. So now I'll click Control Enter here. So I also want to create this value because I use this value in the value boxes. So some of these cases I use them there. So to kind of have inputs to my value box. So this is just the sum of all the information that are within the states counts now. So that's what I did here. So for daily cases. So now all I added all the what would I say? Okay, all the values for all the states in these states daily cases that have been modified. So that's just that. So then the next thing is that I also needed to construct a kind of a statement that is going to be a sub value for the value box. So that's what I did here. So I'll show you where I used all these values. So the same thing goes for the states daily desk. I told you earlier, it's too wide, so we need to collapse it. So we have the same format. So I'm collapsing all this because at the end of the day, I want to combine all this data together so that I have a single data frame that I can work with. And I'll explain that also as we move on. So the same thing, I'm just going to run this. So if you look at this, I did a manipulation here because the date format here is different from what I have here for the state daily cases. So if I'm going to combine them, because that's the only common column that I can use to bind them together or combine them together. So like joining the various data tables, data frames together. Okay, so now that's why I did this manipulation here. So if I select this first, you see the format of the dates. it's different from what I have in the state's daily cases. So let me show you that now. So you can see it's a dash here, while in the state's daily cases for the deaths, it's a slash. So I needed to change the format to be in the same format as what I have there. So that's why I did the mutation there. So I muted the dates column. So the same thing goes here. I created this value because I will need this for the value boxes. So the same thing goes for the daily recovered cases. I'm also doing a mutate on the date column. So that's good for this. Control Enter. So all this work that is going on here, we will refer to it as something that as a data scientist or a data analyst, you need to do. It's like 80% of your work. You need to put your data in the right shape, especially in the tidy format. It has to be in the tidy format that will make sense when you are actually visualizing it or making a report on it. So where am I now? Okay. So the recovered cases now. So the next thing is for me to generate the values for my value boxes. So here we have. So just like for all the hard work that I've done so far, so the next thing is this. There is something common to all these tables that I've modified. They have information that are kind of, they shouldn't be separate. I'm talking about the cases, the number of deaths, and the recovered cases. I want all these values to be in a single data frame so that I can just refer to only one data frame. I don't have to be, okay, I'll search here, I'll search in the other data frame. So no. So there's a way we can do this. So, and what I have to do, and that's the hard work that I did there by running a mutate on the dates column. Okay, so on the dates column. So now the next thing now is this. I want to combine all these cases. So this is what I did. I now gave a new name, daily updates by states. So before, we didn't have, the daily updates were just values. That's what we have in the COVID-19. That is here. The COVID-19. So yeah, we have the COVID-19 data frame here. So here it's an aggregate of for all the states, but we don't have for daily information. So, but I need to have something on the daily information. That's why I have to put all these tables, all these data frames together as a single entity. So the first data frame that I took was the state's daily cases modified. So I'm going to use a left join. So if you look at my screen here now, I'm joining it with the daily dates modified. So I'm using the modified data frames to create a single table now. So now the next thing is, okay, by which of these columns am I going to be joining them together? So there's one common the two common data columns now. Let me show you what I have here. So here, the dates column and the states column are common to all these three modified data frames. So I'm going to join them, left join all these data frames together by referring to these two columns, so that I don't have a duplicate of these values there. So if I select this now and I run these first three lines, and I suppose we are all familiar with the pipes. So whatever if I take any entity here, like a data frame, and I'm piping it in here, whatever I have as the result is going to be used in the next stage. Okay, So that's just what the pipe is doing there. So it makes work easier for us. So if I select the first stage here, that I'm combining daily cases and the death cases, the daily death, this is what we're going to have. So if you see, look at my console here now, we have the dates column and the states column, they're still the same thing. So we're not having a duplicate. But the counts column is also available in both data frames, but right now they are being given a different name. So the values here, the first one belongs to the daily cases, while the second one belongs to the death cases. That's the deaths, daily deaths. So that's the next thing we have to look at, and we keep that on our fingertip so that we'll modify that later. So the next thing is, okay, after combining these two, let's combine it to the third data frame. That's the state daily recovered modified. So if we do that as well, oh, sorry, I didn't do anything there. Okay, I'll go back to that line. So I was thinking I deleted something there. Okay, I actually didn't. Okay, so yes, we still have it intact. So now what we have here in the console, we now have three counts, counts.x, counts.y, and counts. So the first count belongs to the cases, while the second belongs to the death, while the last one belongs to the recovered cases. So I need to separate them, identify each of these columns. So that's why I decided to set new names for them. So that's the next stage. So all these are going to be combined and saved as the daily updates by state. So if I run this to show you the output, we look into the console again, you can see that now they have meaningful names as column names. So that's that. So I'm going to save that now. Okay, so here I did some little, I created a value there. So then another thing here, the data frame that I created here is for the plot that I added to my dashboard. So here, what I just did was, okay, I wanted to have a summary of all the values by states. So I first of all grouped all the values that I have, the 9,000 plus, I grouped them by states. So I now summarize, I wanted to have, and the addition, the sum of all the cases for each state. So that's what I did on this line. So then the most kind of normal thing to do is that we ungroup after summarizing. So I did ungroup here. So for the states, I want to reorder them based on the cases. So I don't want to use all the columns that we're having here. So I want to use only I'm referring only to daily cases now. I just want only the cases to be used in my plot. So that's what I did here. So I'm going to run this, then we'll have what we have here. Okay, so moving forward. So please if you have any question, you want to ask questions, just put them in the chat box. We'll take them one by one after this demo. So thank you so much. So the next thing now is this. I have to create my dashboard. So my dashboard, the normal thing here you can do, maybe after talking to your manager, okay, this is the way we want our interface to be. We want to have some headers, we want to have some boxes that have all these values. They should have some color formats. All this you have to document, then you will be able to now structure the way you arrange your dashboard as a whole. So the next thing for me to do was to have all this kind of my own idea for the demo. So I created, the first thing that I created here. Okay, let me save this. I'm going to use okay, let me see. Okay, so I'm going to use the blank new app that I created. So just to show you the interface, how I built it. So I'm not going to use most of the values here. So the first thing that I did was I'm using the Shiny dashboard package. So I'm not using just Shiny. So I'm using so the dashboard body belongs to the Shiny dashboard package. So, okay, so if you select this and you go to the console, you get more information about it. Okay, let me just show you. So if we're looking at Shiny dashboard here. So if you look at the pop-up here, these are the widgets that we're having in Shiny dashboard. So you can see the dashboard body, the header, the page, the dashboard sidebar, and other menus, other widgets that are there. So that's where the dashboard body and the sidebars that you'll see on my screen, that's where they all came from. So for my body, so for the body of my dashboard, I created this. So the first thing that I wanted to have was a header, a heading that tells you what you are actually looking at on my dashboard. It's all about Nigerian COVID-19 cases and deaths, and so that's why I just gave it its simple name, COVID-19 dashboard. So I'm also using some HTML widgets here. So these are functions from HTML that we can use within Shiny. So this helps me to give it a kind of bold title that I can display here. So within the dashboard body, I can have some, I can use this function, that's the fluid page, which can contain fluid rows and then the columns. So I'll just demonstrate some of these. I won't go too far. I'll just show you how it looks in a blank app. So this was the blank kind of demo app that I created while we're starting this presentation. So I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take out some of this. Let me add the library. Sorry. So library, Shiny dashboard. Okay. So that you see the beauty before we even populate anything. You see the beauty of the dashboard before you have all the other widgets added to it. So this, I'm going to take this out. That's the UI. I'm taking out the UI now. So I'm replacing it with what I have there. So in order, so that we don't get any error here, I'm going to take out some things here. Okay, so that we just have something blank that you can see before you have the values there. Okay, I think I can still go with this, hopefully. Yeah. Okay. I'm taking this out. I don't need this. So whenever you're building your dashboard, basically this is the basic thing that you can have on your Shiny app is you need to have your UI. So that's what the Shiny app function is going to take. Your UI, that's your user interface, as well as the server. That's the function that you pass to the argument within the Shiny app function. So these are the two components here. So we have the UI, okay. So this is the UI. So because I'm using Shiny dashboard, so that's why I'm going to have that. I'm using the Shiny dashboard page. So I'm using the whole dashboard page is going to be run by this function, dashboard page, which belongs to the Shiny dashboard package. So what you can pass in your title, the title here that you want to be having on when the browser is open, the tab of your browser is going to have this name on it. So the next thing is for you to have the header, the dashboard header, and also the dashboard sidebar. I decided to disable this because I don't like, I don't want to use that structure. So if I take this, let me undo this disable. So let me just make it false. Okay, so that it will be displayed. Then you appreciate the flexibility of what you can do with Shining Dashboard. It's flexible. It's just for you to know your way around. So I'm going to take out all what I have here so that you see what it looks like. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's run this and see what we'll get. Then we'll be able to troubleshoot as we're going on. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Share it. So if I'm using the default header and the sidebar that comes with Shiny Dashboard, this is what I'm going to have. I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Yes, we can
Okay,
see your screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So this is what we'll have. The default, this is the default sidebar, the header, then this is the body. But I don't want the sidebar there. So I have the opportunity of disabling it. So I have something clean that I can build from scratch. So I want this area to be my sidebar instead of having this other sidebar so that I can do whatever I want. Also, I can do that with the sidebar. I can do that, but I don't want to use that now or for this demo. So I'll go back to the R Studio now. Okay, so now you can see what I'm looking at, and then I'm going to now show you what I actually want. So I'm going to make this true again. So I want it to be disabled. Okay. So and I'm saving this dashboard body here. I already assigned it to this value. So this is what I did here. That's what I did here. So that's why I'm not using shiny dashboard and dashboard body within the UI. So that's that. So let's run this again and you see what okay. Okay, so this is the browser now. I'm in the browser now. So now you can see the dashboard header and the sidebar has been disabled. So this is okay for me. This is what I want. And the white area after the heading is where I want my value boxes to be. And this side, the right side should be where the map and the tables and other components should be for me. So that's the beauty of so they just like what you're saying there. This is what I will have as the final product. So I'm going back to our studio. Okay, so far so good. So now you've seen the now we have a structure for our dashboard. Then the next thing is how do we get the data and our visualizations there? So In Shiny, there are different ways that we can work with our data. So we can have our data as reactive values, that's using a reactive expression. But today I'm not going to go into the details, but I just want to show you how to create an interactive dashboard using Shiny dashboard. So we're not going to go too much into that detail, but I'm looking, maybe during the question and answer section, we might be able to deal with that. So the next thing now is this. I have my data as data frames outside of the server function. So this is the server function. So I could decide that, okay, I want to use the data frame or the tables just the way they are. But one thing is this, you need your data to be reactive. That's kind of, it changes as the user interacts with it. It's not static. So it responds to it only responds when changes are made, not every time that changes are made, only when it is necessary. Are we together? So if I go back to my dashboard, I'm going to have the only reason why your dashboard is going to change is only when the user clicks the button, the update button. So it's not going to be anytime maybe a user selects the states or they make changes to the state and to the date, everything has to change. No, you have that power to make changes based on what you want. So you can control that interface, and then it's going to be interactive. So here today, I'm not using reactive expressions or values and reactive objects like that. So I'm going to use reactive values instead. Reactive values enables us to have multiple data that you can, like data frames that you can plug in here. I can try to have multiple data frames in here now, so that I can be using. So the only thing I just refer to it that, like, okay, I'm referring to a column or a variable in a data frame, in a single data frame. So having this option makes it kind of easier. I can use the reactive expression, but I think it makes sense most of the time that I love to use reactive values. So when I want to make changes, you can also make changes with reactive objects or expressions, but I'm using reactive values for today. So that deep topic might be for another day. So this is going to be created here. So you use the reactive values function. So what I'm doing here is that I'm only having one element here, one data frame that I'm using. So that's the daily data. So that's what I gave it a name, daily data. So I can decide to have another one like this, maybe yearly data, year data. Then then I equate it to maybe another data frame like COVID. Okay, maybe this data frame. Okay, so both can be within the data and the reactive values, but I can't do this with reactive expression. Okay, objects. It's also only have one. So, but here I can have multiple. So, but I'm not using this. I'm going to take this out. So I'll save that again. So now this is going to be saved as data. So that's the reactive value. So if I want to refer to the daily data, then I'll call it. So the next thing is this. I'm still going to come back to this line. So this applies to when we're making changes. So now for the reactive and for the value boxes, anything that you want to put back in the server, you can only work with inputs like the user interface objects within the server function, but you can't make reference, you can't use reactive expressions outside of the server function. That's just the way I'll put it. You can't make changes to an input control, or let me use control now. Any inputs control cannot, its values cannot be changed outside the server function, because you get an error. You are restricted from making changes in the UI, but within the server function, you can make changes. That's where it will make sense to leave the UI alone while changes are made, changes are treated in the background. So for any changes that you make in the server, on the server, use equate them as an output. So within the UI, you can use an output by its name, but you can't make changes to the input outside there. So you can call the values from the input from within your server, but you can make changes to it from within the server, which can now be displayed in the UI. So I hope that is understood, but for you to get it, but the main aim of this demo is for you to see the beauty of Shiny Dashboard. So that's that. So now here we'll want to look at the value boxes that we created. If you look at the structure of our dashboard without having all these values there, there's a white blank area after the heading. So that's where the value boxes are going to be. It's not there now, but they are now going to be rendered as a UI object. So that is what I did here. So for the first box, so for the cases, we're going to create a value box that is going to take the total daily value cases that I summed up while we were going through the data manipulation. Then the subtitle is going to be the cases string that I created as well. So all the values that I created earlier, this is where they are being used. The same thing goes for the box, for the death box, the number of death cases. So, and also the recovered cases. So this is how we equate it. So you can give it the value that will be the bold value that you first of all see. Then we have subtitle as well as the width. You can decide on the width of your value boxes. All these can be changed here. So the same thing goes for this box and the other box. So also you can make changes by adding colors, because death cases are kind of alarming. That's why I gave it the red color. Then for the recovered cases, the green alert. We're good with that. So that's why I gave it a green color. So that's that. So the next thing is, and if you notice, all of them are being equated to, you can use the equal sign or you use the alt dash. So don't be confused by this. So let me just change this. Okay, so all works fine. So it's just about knowing what you're doing there. So that's that. So all these are going to be rendered when we load our dashboard. So moving on now. So the next thing that I did was I'm using the Leaflet package to create the map. So the Leaflet package takes a data frame as well. So these are the various values, steps that you have to go through for you to create the leaflet. So this is something you have to, it's beyond the scope of this webinar. So this also, so for the, I decided to give, add the name. Okay, I hope you can still hear me. My internet is kind of fluctuating.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you so much. So I'm adding as the main header for the pop-up that you'll see that's any information that the more information that you can get from the map. So for the first, I'm using a level 1 heading so that we'll have that in a bigger font. So the next one is for the table. I created it in an HTML table within the pop-up. So this gives these values. So all these values are going to be on rows here. So I have the cases, the deaths, the total recovered cases, the active cases, then the number of streams, individuals. So these are all that are going to be on the map. So then the next thing that I added is good to have a table on your dashboard that you can make changes based on your search on the sidebar that we created. So this is where I have I'm using the data table. So I'm using that DT package. So it's a table that you can easily manipulate. If you can look at my screen now, I'm even having the power to reduce the number of rows, observations that you see when you load the dashboard. So the next thing is the only plot that I have there. So it's a ggplotly plot that is interactive, just for demo sake. So we can do more with what we have there. So now, without using much of our time, I think I've gone through this. Okay, the only thing that is remaining now is the updates. So whenever I omitted this because I want to explain further on this. So what this line is doing, that you can see it's not equated to any output. It's not, it's just something that is going to happen within the server. But the output, the result of this event happening is going to be displayed by an output value. That's the data table. So whatever happens here, based on the interaction, the user interaction, whenever any user clicks the button, okay, this is the button now. The ID for the button is apply. So whenever anybody clicks this button, what is here is that the reactive value that I created that has the data frame that we're using for the data table is going to be changed. So I'm filtering based on the states. Any state, we can select multiple states. So any state within the selected states, as well as the dates that is being selected, any change, the date that have been changed, I'm going to filter based on that. Then I'm going to return whatever the result is back to the only data table, or the only value that is within the reactive value, the reactive values. So I'm going to return it to it. So it changes it. So anytime the reactive value changes, any output object that is using it is going to be updated automatically. Only if the button is clicked. But I can decide to have multiple inputs that should be tracked, should be observed whenever anybody make change. Maybe I can decide to say, okay, I want to observe anytime anybody make changes to the dates and the states. That would be so much. The states, then the data table should be updated. That would be like running back and forth from the UI to the server. So why not just use one like a button to do all this? So that's why we're filtering and we're making the two filters to be compulsory. That okay, I don't have to use the isolate function for those who are experienced. So I'm using the and instead of the or. So I'm using the and. So we filter based on those two values now. So that's going to be updated in our data, the data table that we have in the UI. So that's that. So now let's run. Hopefully I've not made any alteration to my code. So we should have it run properly. Great. Okay, let me see. I'm not, okay. I hope you can see my dashboard now.
Yes, we can see your dashboard.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. So now this is what I have. I can still make changes to this to show, like add the commas, but okay, we can make changes to that maybe before we answer all the questions. So this can still be made more beautiful than what we're having here. So this is the total cases by the date, the last date in our data set 2020. That's October 2020. That's the 30th day of October 2020. So the same thing goes for the total number of deaths as well as the number of recovered cases. So now for the changes interacting with the dashboard, here, if you click on any of these markers, it's showing you all the states. So I can click on this. This is Zamfara states. Don't worry, these are the states in Nigeria. So if I click on Kebbi, you have the data on Kebbi. So we have 93 cases as of October 30th, 2020. So the same thing goes for every other state. So if you click on the marker, you get more information there. So that's that. So you can drag up, you can increase the size of this. So you see bigger. So that's that for the map. So moving on now. So this is the data table that we're having here. I've restricted the number of rows to be displayed to be 5. So we still have 1,828 or more observations that we can play with. So that we still have there. Mommy. Okay. Sorry, excuse me.
Excuse us as a minute as she comes back. Thank you very much for sticking with us.
Okay, sorry, there was a little angel that came in here. So it's weekend. Okay, so the next thing now, okay, we've seen the table here. So then the plots, this like kind of beautiful plot, but not too beautiful. It's just for demo's sake, kind of. So that's the we have the go over. We have the values for all the states there. So sorry, I did something there. Okay. Sorry, let me go up. Okay. Yeah, we're back. So this is what we have as the plot. So now let's look at the reactive nature of the dashboard. So I can make changes to the dates inputs. So I would go, let me go to, let's say June 2020. Let's say June 2020, 2020, June 12. Okay, today's June 12. So 2020. Let's look at the number of cases we're having there. Then I'm going to select some states. So we have Abia, Anambra, Bayelsa, Cross River. Okay, the FCT, that's Federal Capital Territory. And this, okay. Okay, so we can still go ahead and select more, but I'll stay with this for now. So you can, if you look at my table, my data table, nothing is happening here. But if you want changes to be made based on any selection that you have in here, it will automatically update. So that's the reactive nature of Shine, what Shine is all about. It's about, okay, the interaction, then the necessity of reacting to what your user is doing. Should I react or not? And then make the decision. So the data frame, the data table is still intact. Nothing has happened to it. So now let's click on the button. So if you look at the screen, the changes are automatically made so fast. So we have for Abia, the states that I selected, let me scroll up a little bit. So these are, so you can see the dates, it belongs to June 12, 2020. So I have Abia, Anambra. So we have Abia here. We have Anambra, Bayelsa, Cross River, Edo. So I'll go to the next page. So we have the remaining, that's Ekiti and FCT. So we have all the values here. So this is what you can do. So the user can interact with your dashboard, and we have the plot here. So you can also allow the interaction to affect your plots as well. So it depends on what you want to do. So far so good. This is the little demo that I can demonstrate tonight, and I hope you all got some knowledge from this. We're going to share the code after the webinar. So okay, so I hope if you're registered for the webinar on the Meetup page, I should be able to send it to you. But if you didn't register, you're from our group, local group here, kindly share your email within the chat box, and then we'll be able to send the code to you. We'll share the link of the GitHub page for our GitHub page where you can download the codes. Thank you so much. So we'll take questions now, and I'll hand over to Robinson.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful demo, and we have actually learned a lot from my side. So it's time for Q&A. I'm going to copy your email, and by the end of this webinar, we shall be sending you email address. We shall be sending you the code and the data. Okay, we're going to start with question. I think throughout the session, I've seen one question, and that was from Manika. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong, the pronunciation of the name. Okay, so thank you. That's all right. Okay. The question was, can we have multiple pages in the Shiny dashboard, like the storyboard in Flex dashboard? So that is one question I've seen. Do we have any other question before we start answering questions? Okay, I think we can go. We're going to go with that question, or is anyone trying to bring up a question so that if it's related, we can try to explain that at the same time.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Do we have any questions? Any more questions?
Yes, we have only one question. Should I read it again?
Okay. Okay, you can
Should I read
go
again?
ahead and read it again.
Okay, so the question is, can we have multiple pages in the Shiny dashboard, like the storyboard in Flex dashboard?
Yes. Okay, yes, we can have that. We can have multiple pages, and you can also use tabs, different, sorry, excuse me. Okay. Sorry, I need to attend to something. Please, Robinson, can you just take the question? Let me attend to this. I need like 5 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, okay. Yes, okay. Trying to understand your question. I think I'm getting what you're trying to say by okay, let me just try to, I'm just going to try to explain maybe your question the way I'm understanding it, because I think I'm losing out somehow. Well, when you're trying to talk about Flex dashboard, that is, you use R Markdown to form the whole dashboard, right? So when you mean multiple pages, is it something like, let me say, you are like having different tabs? For example, if we had, for example, the dashboard which we have just developed, we have one tab which is for maybe the cases in COVID-19 cases, and then another tab which is talking about something different with around concentrating about maybe COVID, maybe the vaccine, or maybe updated news. So those are kind of different pages. Is that the, am I trying, have I gotten the question right? Okay, yes, to answer that, yes, you can have multiple pages, and you can to in. Okay, let me try to load up my session. You can have that, because when you're having this, the default output for when you're loading in Shiny dashboard, it's going to bring in the sidebar, and then it's going to bring in you are going to have the sidebar. So that sidebar can help you to navigate through. Let me try it. Okay. Okay. Let me try to show you that. Just a minute. Okay. Let me show you this. Let me just load up. Maybe a Shiny dashboard that I developed already, because the code will take long. I'm going to share my screen. A minute. Okay. So, okay, this is the dashboard I created. It's also called related about COVID. Again, this part of the demo, again, you see as if it's the same. So the other one was more, he wanted you to look at most of the things, the basic things to build up a Shiny dashboard. So that's why the fewer things, but I don't know if you're trying to say now, you see, this is when you're rotating through. So this was also developed from, yeah, sure. This is also developed from Shiny dashboard, the package Shiny dashboard. However, I think what you're trying to say, for example, if we have here another tab, when you can click here and then you move to other tabs. Yes, that is true. You can also achieve that in Shiny dashboard. But one way is to have the natural sidebar, and you navigate through different tabs. Then after that, each tab you can put some other information. So if that's not what you want, and you want to achieve maybe tabs which are up here, you can actually achieve that. You can again use there's a function called tab. Actually, let me show you the functionality here. Are you seeing this? This, when you come to this and change this, so this can be a whole page, and then you will navigate from a different tab and you put a different visualization. So again, this was built from Shiny dashboard, so that means you can achieve that. Let me stop sharing my screen. We have another question. I hope I've answered your question, Monica, right? Have I? Yes, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yes, okay. Then we have another.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it's okay. We have another question here. Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to see. Okay, minute.
Okay.
Yes, another question is from Wendy, right? Let me see.
Okay.
Hi, yes, thank you. It did get answered in the chat, sort of. I was just wondering
Oh,
formatting of the dot before the, in the summarize
Oh,
command of the code, it was referring to the dot column. And I just hadn't seen that format before, and I wondered,
okay, okay, I get the question. I'll explain that. Okay, I'm going to the area now. I think. Okay.
just right there in the summarize section.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that now. Okay.
I think it was line 60-ish.
60, yeah.
There you are.
Okay, here, 66. Okay, okay. The dots column is it's the way you okay, like how would I put it now? Okay, this is the argument that we're looking at how would I explain? Okay, it's about the number of columns that will the columns that you're going to refer to are kind of okay. If we're talking about functional R, so we're looking at the dot notation in R. That's when you use the dots. Because right now I'm using a function that takes a parameter. And this parameter use the dot notation. So there is that's another topic on its own. It's just a dot notation, just more or less like when you're for the pivot function, you're using direct columns. We're referring to a value directly. But for this now, we're using the dot notation that has like the functional programming. Like we're looking like maybe advanced R or something in Shiny that we're using for this function alone. So if we look at the documentation here, so across. So here, so if you can see, if you look at my right, we're looking at multiple columns, but the function here I want to so it's more or less like we're looking at functional programming here. So basically, you just know that okay, we have some arguments that we need to refer to here. So and that it has to be in the dot notation format. That's the only way I can put it now. So this applies to functions to apply, then the names of the columns. So if you look at what we have summarized, you can't select or compute upon grouping variables. So we can't just say, okay, calls, like what we have in the pivot longer. So I hope that helps a little bit, but it's just a functional programming language, that's all.
Thank you very much.
You said?
I say thank you very much. That was very helpful. Yeah.
Okay,
and I know where to find the help for that. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so any other question?
Okay, we have a question from Victor. He's raising up his hand. So you'll be taking, Victor, can you unmute yourself, please, and try to raise up your question?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lukiso, for a wonderful presentation. I really learned a lot today.
Okay.
My question is regarding the reactive expressions versus the reactive value. I know that when using a reactive expression, the return value is what is considered in terms of what data will now be passed to the output, maybe the observers or the output function, the rendering function. But the reactive value, as you said you could pass more than one value or more than one object into the function. Now my question is, how does this work in terms of like if you have two objects being passed as as arguments into the reactive value function, and you make a change in just one object. So does it mean that just the one that was changed is returned for and passed down to the other? Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Victor. So then the reactive value, when you're having multiple objects there, so like the example that I said, let's say year data underscore data. Okay, this will be equal to another, that will be another data frame like this. So if you make changes to the first one, it's not going to affect the second one if you don't make changes to it. So if you want to make changes to let's say the daily data, you know, the reactive expression, you have to use like the bracket, like you use the here, like a function. So for this one, each element is going to be referred to by their name. So it's a named object here. So that's why here, if you look at what is happening, this is the only thing that I'm modifying here. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you're with me. So if I can still run this and we won't get any error. Okay. Because I didn't make any changes to this, it's still going to work the same way. Okay. So because I'm being specific now, although I have all these within the reactive value, but I'm not using the second one. It can be there. I can try to use it later. Yeah. Okay. So that's why. Okay. Now. Okay. Let me just bring this down so that I don't get any error.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm still on that. Still on that.
Okay.
I didn't notice now in the code. Okay, this reactive value is assigned to data, right? So where is it used in the code? I would like to see how it is used in the code. That data, the one that is is created when the reactive values is called.
Is used.
Yes, in terms of like, is it used as a name or as a?
Hello, let me show you where we use that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I used it to populate the data table. So if you look at this, do you see it here? Can you see the way I referred to it? So I said data, the $sign. So it's more or less like, okay, I'm referring to a column in a data frame. Okay. So you actually refer to that, to the very value that is so it's exactly that data. Yes, exactly. So if I'm going to use the second one, that's the year, that will be year underscore data, then I'll have to use it like this. Yeah, it's clear now. Okay, it's clear now. So that's it. So whichever one you want to modify, it has to be that. So what's the name again? Okay. So that I don't get any error, let me just be sure. Okay. Daily. So that's that. So that's just the way we use it. This data, what kind of object is it? Is it a list or is it maybe an R6 object or what? This data. Which data? Yeah, this one that was created by this one that you're just showing us now, where it's data $sign and then daily underscore data. No, I just gave it that name. No, you can give it any name. You can give it any name. I just decided to use that simple name. So I can decide to say, okay, data values. I'm asking, do you know what type of object is this? Is it, what class is it? Is it a list or is it some other kind of object, some kind of other kind of object? No, the class that class, okay, the class that I'll call it is a reactive value.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so that's just what I would say for now. Yeah. So, but you can have in the reactive value, you can have different objects there. You can decide to have just single values, like just a value.
Yes.
Or you can have a data frame there.
Okay.
So, but the
Thank-
part, the difference between it and the reactive expression is that you can have multiple objects there.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No. So, any other question?
Yes, there's a question from Wendy. She's asking, have you tried using a data range?
Yeah, definitely you can use a data range, yeah, but for this demo, I didn't choose it. So for this demo, I didn't use that thing. So you can decide to replace this. Where is it? So, okay, here. So if you can replace it as data. Okay, this is what you mean? Is this what you're referring to?
The date range. I was just wondering because all of your the table and the map is only for one specific date, and so I wondered if it could be the input could be a date range and choose just one date or a range over time.
Yes, definitely you can use the range of dates, but for this demo, I just decided to make it so simple. That's just.
Of course, thank you. But you've shown me where to look to now. I just want to go and play all afternoon. So I'm glad that it's morning time here. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your presence as well. Okay. So, but one thing I want to add, if you're using the range, the argument's different from what you're seeing on the screen. So, but you should be able to just need the tab key, and you'll get the options that you have. So the arguments, they're kind of different here.
Yes, so
I hope you understand that.
Thank you. I understand enough to go looking to see what it is that I don't understand, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, I think that's it from the question. Yes, that's it. That was the last question we had.
Okay.
And apart from this, if there's anyone with another question, then someone can pass it on.
Okay.
I think that's it. No more
In case
questions.
there is no question. One more question.
No more questions. No more questions.
Okay, so I would like to request, would you want to make any addition or comments on the presentation, Robinson?
No, on my side, the presentation was perfect. I've learned quite a lot also, but especially about the reactive values. So I think that no question from me and no addition. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. Well, I hope you all noted the emails. Please, you can share your email here so that we can just maybe send it to you, but it's going to be available, and the video is going to also be available on the YouTube channel. So. Thank you so much. So on this note, we're going to say a big thank you to everybody that have joined tonight. We really appreciate your presence, and we look forward to having you next time. So thank you so much. And this will be a goodbye here from me. So thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you. And you too. Bye, Wendy. Bye. Thank you so much, Manika. I hope she's still around. Everybody, thank you so much, Robinson, Victor, Anthony. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you too.
Bye.